In this video, we're going to be doing some mods to my 2023 300L Rally that I've always been curious about. And as you can see, they're the mods from 550 Performance, as a lot of you are familiar about on the 300Ls, very popular mods out there. We're going to be doing the airbox mod, which opens it up here. We're going to be doing the velocity stack, which again, there's a whole lot more airflow come through. And then I'm going to be doing the stage 1 87 octane as far as the ECU mod. And why I decided to go with the 87 octane ECU is just because I ride in a lot of remote areas and I don't want to have to worry about, oh, can I find 91 or 93 or whatever it may be. Figure 87 I can pretty much just about find anywhere. I guess my only concern is I'm not very mechanically sound. I can do my mods and my basic stuff, you know, but whenever you get into this stuff, which by the way, I'm going to be paying a buddy to do all these mods for me. But again, going through a water crossing, am I going to be okay shortening this up and then having this open, even though that water is, or the screen is incredibly thin to prevent that water going through. My buddy does have all this on his 300L, and he's done the Smoky 500 on his and stuff, going through deep water crossings, riding in rain, and never had any issues. So I'm sure going to be perfectly fine with that. But I am really curious as to what these mods are going to do to this bike. I'm not digging for extra power. I understand what the 300L is. I mean, I got my Triumph 1200 Scrambler over there if I need some power, right? So I'm not really trying to get extra power. What I want is that real snatchy throttle where it's super jerky. I want to get rid of that, and maybe a little bit like on my most recent trip when I was on the highway for about 3 hours, you know, when I got up into that 70 miles an hour there, it's just, oh man, it just rumbled so much. It just vibrated. It didn't have anything after that either, you know, so hopefully having a little bit of that back end in there and take away a little bit of that vibration. And just my number one thing is to make it a little bit smoother. That's what I'm hoping for. But anyways, I got to take my bike and drop it off at my buddy's house, and I'll be back with you guys and we'll see, is this 550 Performance mod worth it? So as many of you are aware, if you've seen my last couple of videos, the 550 mods are installed. Again, we did that airbox little side bit. We actually put the, man, I forget the name of that thing now. Anyways, the extender in there that opens it up. And we also did the 87 stage 1 mod. But I've been riding these mods for quite a bit. I didn't want to just plug them in and go ride. I wanted the bike to, again, get used to the mods and me kind of get a feel of it rather than just getting on and being like, oh, wow, this feels a whole lot better, or, oh, I don't really feel anything. I wanted to truly ride it, and I've probably put well over 500 miles on it since those mods have been installed. So, anyways, I don't want to sit here and bore you guys just talking about it. I'm going to get on the bike, we'll go for a ride, and we'll talk about it there. Maybe I just don't want to bore myself. So again, we're going to go for a ride and talk about these mods. So the first thing I want to talk about is the installation. And as I stated in the beginning, I did not install these. I had a buddy install them, and I'm just going to overlay some of the footage of him installing it. He was definitely nice enough to film the installation for me, and it was pretty long. Like, the file I had to download was massive. I think he said it took about 4 hours to install. Yeah, take the seat off, the fenders, all this stuff off. Now, of course, I had the crash bars and stuff and the rear rack, so that little kind of stuff added some time. But he did say it was a job to, again, put that, the airbox extender in there. Everything else is pretty much, you know, pop it on and you're good to go as far as the ECU. And then that, where how you open up the airbox, on the side, you just screw it in and you're good to go. It's really how you open it up and take that stock snorkel out that takes the longest. So again, I had tons of footage of him installing it here, and it was so much work for him. You know, looking at it right there, I'm chopping it down here, so you can see a little bit of it. I don't want to say I couldn't have done it by myself, but I would have been cursing the bike out. It would not have been fun. Again, I'm not a mechanic type of person. I like doing mods, but not mechanic stuff. So anyways, you can see some of that right there. But let's go on and get onto the dirt here, and let's talk about, oh, there we go, yes. Let's just talk about how the bike feels right now. And short and sweet, it feels like a completely different bike, like 100% just on the throttle here. It's like I'm in 5th gear going 40, and it's not jerky, you know, like obviously if you pull it's gonna, right, but I can downshift. That's one of the biggest things I noticed with these mods is downshifting is so smooth now. Before, it's like you downshift, you're going into your windshield, you know. It just feels like a motorcycle now, right? Before, it just felt kind of toyish and untuned and unrefined. Not saying it was bad, like, yeah, it's stock, it was perfectly, you know, fine. I've, you know, put quite a few miles on it stock and had a good time with it, but it was always that little bit, as far as that jerkiness, was just like, ah man, this is not fun. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, once we get to the blacktop here, we'll talk about that, being the speed of this bike, the top speed and passing power, right? You're very limited on this. Once you got up, like, I'll downshift to fourth right now, and I'm still shifting pretty early, but I got so much in the back end with this bike, you know. Even up into fifth, I feel like I can get going, I can downshift and feel like I have bike there, rather than I'm gonna, you know, blow the motor up or something, where you really feel like you're, you know, stressing the motor out. Now you really got some gusto in it, and every gear feels true, if that makes sense. We're just gonna gun it. Now I'm pinned out. Okay, so I'm not a speed person. You all know speed is not my thing. I just wanted to show you that, how it feels. Now, as we were up into sixth there, I could have pulled each gear out a little bit further. But while I was in sixth trying to get up to 80 there, I was pinned out that whole time, but I still felt like I had some gusto. Like I could get going, you know what I mean? And again, now, like if I'm going 65 or 60 in fifth, get up there, I still got some go, as you see, and I still have sixth gear once I get up there. That's really the biggest noticing factor, is like how much more you have, you know, throughout each gear, and then in the end, and while you're cruising at those higher speeds. Like the other weekend, I went out riding all day, and we were on some highways, and again, just cruising at 70 on this bike. It was perfectly manageable and doable. When before, the vibration, and you're constantly pinned out, you feel like you got nothing. Like just right there, coming off that stop sign, let's talk about that. Like, I don't have to like work the entire bike just to get going. I feel like I get to ride the bike rather than the bike riding me, kind of, if that makes any sense whatsoever. You know, it just feels so much better. The throttle response, the delivery throughout each gear. Now that exhaust is still absolutely annoying. And again, when I talked to the 550 guys, he said, well, if you want to do the airbox mod, yada yada, he recommends having a full aftermarket exhaust, which I got that Black Widow one, which is ridiculously loud. My buddy has the, I don't know the name of it, but it's incredible. All the exhausts are just ridiculously loud. I like the stock one where it's nice and quiet, you know. So I don't know, am I stuck with this annoying exhaust? I even put the extra baffle in there, not the stock baffle, but you can buy the other one for Black Widow that goes on the front end, and it's still incredibly loud. So that's a bummer. I will say that is a bummer. So if you don't want to deal with that noise, I would guess just go with that side piece for the airbox, and then your stock ECU upgrade rather than stage 1 or whatever, because that noise does get pretty darn annoying. Now I want to get us back onto some dirt up here and talk a little bit more about the characteristics of it being on dirt, and that's going to go right here. We're going to second gear, and I'm just going to gun it. Oh, that back wheel, I know you guys couldn't see it, but it just like swung out, swung in, and I felt like I can pull the throttle and get myself back on track, when before it's like, okay, you just gave it everything you got, that's what you got, get yourself out of it somehow. And now I feel like, oh wow, they got a cord out here, not sure what that's about. Hold on a second, let me get past the old Honda. All right. But anyways, I feel like I can control the bike with the throttle a little bit more. You know, like again, coming just right there out of that turn, if I was dancing a little bit, I can, whatever gear I'm in, I can still pull it out rather than having to say downshift or something like that. It feels like, no joke, like a completely different bike. Now, is it an Africa Twin or some powerful sports bike now? No, don't take it like that. I don't want to portray that by any means, but the 300L, or of course the Rally that I have right here, it just made it so much more fun to ride, so much more true and pure to ride. Maybe that sounds kind of corny, but again, with this combination of these mods here, it's a whole lot much more fun to ride, like completely. The couple reasons, again, why I mentioned I went with the 87 is because, again, if I'm riding off-road or going on a ride and I don't know what's around there, I don't want to have to try to find 93 or 91, whatever it is, you know. You can pretty much find basic unleaded anywhere. So I don't know if that's going to make a huge difference. I think more than the difference I would notice is the difference of annoyance of, I want to say, spending more money on gas, which again is such a small bike, so that doesn't really matter. I mean, this has a bigger tank, but having to find it, right? So now I really don't have to worry about that. And I think the performance of how it sits right now is, it's perfect. It really is. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention for you guys is gas mileage, fuel economy. Do I notice any improvement or decline with it? It's honestly the exact same. It's 62.4, which is pretty much what I have always gotten with this. I will tell you, my buddy, I believe he's got stage 2, and again, that 91 octane, and his is crazy. His is like up, man, I might be mistaken, but I think it was around 70, something like that. I looked at his, I said, what the heck are you doing there, man? You know, so again, I don't know if the 91 or 93, whatever, does anything better. But again, with this, the mods that I have, the ones we have done, it has stayed the exact same. No improvement, no decline or anything, which is perfectly fine with me. So I took this random left turn up here. Not sure where this is going, but I just want to find a nice spot where we can talk about our conclusion. Do I recommend these mods, which you can probably sum up if you've stuck through this video. But right now, I'm just having too much fun going down this random road. I love taking those random turns, and you don't know. You know, when I go riding, even though I ride a lot of these roads, I never really mark them or I don't record them, because I don't ride them the same roads every week. Oh, that's sandy and bouncy there. But it always feels fresh, like something new. If I record it, it's like, oh wait, I did that one last week. I did that one a week before. Oh, it comes to a little dead end right here. Okay. Well, not much, huh? Someone's got a little burn pile. Well, this might be a good spot. I wonder if that goes any further. No. Looks like a walk and... Oh. Well, hey, look at that. We stalled right there, so this might be our spot to talk about it. And when we get off this bike, with the mods we have done here, and again, you all know on my Rally, I keep it loaded down. I'm not an aggressive rider. I'm not trying to wheelie. I'm not trying to speed. I like having a little bit of that back end power, knowing that I have more than what I have, if that makes sense. That's why I always like bigger ADV bikes. Oh, let me turn my lights off here before I drain the battery. But with the 550 mods here, I already love the Rally and the 300L platform. I love the Rally more than a base 300L because it's like a mini ADV bike, wind blockage, whatever. Go watch my review. But it transformed this bike to even more of a motorcycle for me rather than feeling like a dirt bike, you know. All of these mods, 550 again did send them out, but I believe they cost about, I think for everything, you're roughly around that $400 price point right there. And even before you look at the price and the cost of these mods, look at the install. Again, I mean, I'm sure any of us could do it. It's nothing major. It's definitely time consuming once you get into that airbox opening. That's what's going to take the longest. So maybe go with just the basic ECU and then the airbox screen where you open it up on the side and try that out. And if you feel like you need more, then maybe go with that airbox opening, because then again you're going to need the exhaust as well. So multiple things right there. I would say if I was to do it again and I didn't have someone that could do the install and I didn't want to pay a buttload for someone to do the install, I would just get the stock ECU, open up the airbox, run the stock exhaust, and leave it that way. And then you're probably right around that 200 and some change mark right there, which that's honestly where I would recommend you to start. Try that out, and if you feel like you want more, then go with the whole caboose. I already had the exhaust on there, so I figured why not, let's try it out, and I'm incredibly happy with it. But again, I would recommend you start lower and then build up to it if you feel like you want more. But at the end of the day, as you've caught through this video, I absolutely love these mods. It transformed this bike and just made me love it that much more.